Good morning, it's the 10th of November. It's quite muggy this morning, quite overcast, but it's trying to brighten up. And in front of me is our Leaning Tower of Pisa Albert clock. You can see there's a slight leaning in it, which they tried to stabilise. We've got Bittles Bar here on the corner, quite an historic bar, and then we've got the Jaffa monument commemorating a leading Jew who was Mr. Jaffa, who was a Belfast mayor, I believe, way back when. Just around to the left here we've got Victoria Square, and the upper area in it it gives a good view over the city. Don't know whether it's open this morning or not. I'm just moving around. Big police station across the road, and I'm heading to I think it's Ann Street to check out the Belfast Entries and their new refurb. So I've just dandered along a bit. There's one of the bridges across the Lagan. Some historic buildings here, that one there in particular. And I've just arrived at Ann Street. And if you want to know where the centre of Belfast, where it all originated down here. And it grew up, Belfast grew up around a series of entries known as the Belfast Entries, strangely enough. And some of these entries, and there's about 8 of them remaining. Some of these entries date back to the 1600s, and these would point to being the commercial centre of Belfast back in those days. These are where the Belfast commerce all grew up, and we're heading towards the first of them. And normally Ann Street would be thriving, would be bunged with people, tourists and all sorts, but it hasn't been that way for 6 to 8 months. And I'm talking about the Belfast Entries here. This is one of the main ones, but there's other ones. There's Winecellar, there's Crown, there's Joy's Entry, there's Wilson's Court, there's Castle Arcade, there's Sugar House Entry, and they all are on Ann Street and High Street. And this is one of the main ones, Pottinger's Entry. And Belfast City Council have made efforts to do these entries up, keep them in good nick. And there's actually several guides. There's and there's several websites. Morning Star was one of the early pubs of Belfast. Dates back pre-Victorian probably. And I'm looking for street art here, but I don't see any. Maybe they haven't got round to doing Pottingers yet, but there is street art. I'm convinced there's street art. I'm told there's street art on these entries, and I love street art. But this street art has been encouraged by Belfast City Council, which is great. And Belfast Canvas are involved, Belfast Entries artwork, and then there's the Cathedral street art is going on too. Wee bit of street art that I have videoed before on the left hand side here. Yeah, this is by VERZ. Maybe I haven't videoed this, I can't remember, because I've videoed so much street art. I've just walked back Pottinger's entry, and I've just spotted this very nice piece of street art by Irony, well-known street artist. I think I've videoed quite a number of his stuff before. And Belfast City Council, through Hit the North and Seed Arts and all the rest of it, have funded an awful lot of this street art. They've funded a lot of foreign street artists to come in and make their mark on Belfast, and this is what makes Belfast one of the meccas for international street art. People actually come to Belfast to see the street art. Now, I'm not talking about the sectarian stuff, I'm talking about this stuff. Oh, it's pretty good. Like that. Hands shaking. Oh dear. Well, I've just tootled down Ann Street, past Complete Entertainment Exchange and Superdrug and Best Vintage. Love Best Vintage's frontage there, don't you? And we're heading down towards the Corn Market, and this is the second big entry that I want to draw to your attention. This is Joy's entry. This is a very famous entry, named after the founder of the newsletter, would you believe, the first published newspaper in the world, apparently. The first published English language newspaper in the world, published by Francis Joy in this entry. And his grandson, of course, was Henry Joy McCracken, whose statue is at the front of this pub. It's the only statue I've ever come across of Henry Joy McCracken in the whole of Belfast, which is quite strange. I've come across many busts of Henry Joy, but no statues as such. What about you? All right. And a wee bit of street art going on here too. Enoch's WDC. Trying to brighten the place up. And my goodness, don't we need brightened up in this blooming lockdown stuff. People are going mad with, well, quite literally, with mental illness and whatnot, being isolated from so many people. But that's another story. This is Joy's entry. I'm just dandering along Joy's entry, and there's the Jailhouse pub in here and restaurant. Of course, it's all shut up. Which is sad, because we're in semi-lockdown still. But this would have been, as I say, well, it's Henry's public house. This would have been all the commercial part of Belfast, all these wee entries. And there's another wee bit of street art going on here. And it's by Dreepa. I think it's Dreepa. There's two tags here. I can't imagine they're done by anybody different, because how would you get away up there? So a wee bit more street art. And this is Joy's entry coming out on the lower end of High Street. And again, a wee bit of street art going on up here. Which I'll take in. This piece of street art has been here for some considerable time. I've videoed it before. Nearly sure I have anyway. And we're looking down at the big Albert clock again. And this is me at Wilson's Court entry. Let's see if there's any street art down in here. New street art. It wouldn't be as well known, Wilson's Court. And these entries, you know, they're throughways. They are well used by locals. An old picture. And this is the Mermaid Inn. And I'm coming along down Wilson's Court, and very nice street art here. Love this. There's Aslan, and there's Finn McCool, I presume, or Cuchulainn, I don't know. We are what we believe. We are. Oh, why? This is C.S. Lewis, and this is Faggy. I've videoed Faggy before. Art by Faggy. This is class. I love this. This is the type of stuff I like. There's the big fish. And there's Harlan Wolf. That's brilliant. And there's out of time. That's Back to the Future, the DeLorean car that was manufactured here until it all went skew with. Brilliant street art. I'm glad I did this morning. And of course I've walked past street art behind me. A more abstract version. Oh, this is good too. Be small piece. Not good. I love that. As you lived, you must die. Isn't that right? I love these wee small, what are they called? Vinaigrettes? I'm not too sure. I'm not that smart. The Minotaur speaks. The Farset voice. Farset is a river that ran underneath Belfast, or runs underneath Belfast. And this is this new piece of street art here by, don't know, can't make that tag out. Rob 20, not sure. Now looking back down on street, I was talking to Ian in the yellow high-vis vest down there, keeping the place tidy for us all. If we look up this way, we're looking at what is known as Belfast Corn Market, and This is supposed to be a contemporary sculpture here. It replaced a bandstand, and I rant and rave about this all the time. It's hateful. It's been dubbed the onion rings because that's what it looks like. It's totally out of place, and the bandstand was removed. So this is Corn Market, where Henry Joy McCracken was Presbyterian minister, was hung for supporting a rebellion against the British in 1798, and the leaders of that rebellion were all English, and were all Presbyterian ministers. What am I talking about? So this is Crown Entry. Let's see if there's any new street art in Crown Entry. And all of those entries have just come one in a row, all in a row. Now this is a wee bit more, the sunlight doesn't get into this entry, and I don't see any street art. Well, not really so far. A wee bit of street art going on here now, I have to say. And this is Corny Brennan's pub. I like this now. Wee nose. Lady of the Night, presumably. I don't know. She looks a dangerous lady. And this guy's playing a wee bit of cards, and this one's by Fob. Another one. And a wee bit of street art going on up here, would you believe? See, it's easy to miss these. I like some of the smaller pieces. This is pretty good. Like this. Looks like a ship. Don't know. And one of the dire wolves, I presume. That was in Game of Thrones. And there's big writing here, which I can't make out. I'll try and read it in a minute. At the month? I don't know. Am I being stupid? Probably. There's a whole series of pictures on the other side of how these entries have, looked. 1914, 1929, 1933, 1938. But I came here to video the street art. At the month? At the mouth? At the mouth? That's what it is. Oh dear. If I could only read. And there's one of the Belfast linen mills. It's that Conway mill, I'm not too sure. And then we've got a nod to Belfast punk undertones and people like that. Stiff Little Fingers, Outcasts, Rudy, and all the bands that grew up in Belfast. Class. And I've crossed over the road and I'm now approaching Winecellar entry. And there's a wee piece on the entries. We've got the main ones mentioned there. Now I haven't done Cole's Alley. Got Pottinger, got Joy's, got Wilson's Court, Crown Entry, and I have included the Castle Court one, and there's Winecellar Entry mentioned. So I'll just let you see that. I've done videos of this before, but there you go. This might be new stuff, I don't know. You read that for yourselves. And a big piece celebrating harp. Pure here, so it is. I don't think I've drunk a pint of harp in my life. I'm not into alcohol at all. Wouldn't be my thing. But many people are. This is White's Tavern, established 1630. One of the oldest pubs in this city. And they've got a smashing map of Ireland here. No tag name with it. And hopefully this lockdown will be used by the end of the week. These are all wee places you should come to if and when you visit Belfast. Don't be afraid of the entries. Don't be afraid of some of the entries looking a wee bit narrow and gloomy. They're wee hidden gems, but I would go in the daylight hours now, I would. A wee bit of street art celebrating White's Tavern. One of the oldest pubs in the city, and there's a few boys making that claim.